It is only the middle of April and a lot of my fruit trees have already flowered and set fruit. Today I want to show you all the fruit trees that I have here in Zone 7A, Northern Virginia, and that produce really well for our zone. This little guy right here is a Celeste Fig. It has produced a ton of figs since it was planted in 2021. It is one of the fastest growing trees that you can plant in your yard. I have this other fig tree right here behind the garage. This fig is a Chicago hardy fig and it can survive up to Zone 5. This peach right here does really well in our zone. It's called a white frost peach. And I planted this in the ground in February of 2021. Last year it produced several peaches, but before they were ripe, the squirrels got to them. So this year it has set a lot of fruit and my goal is to protect it with a net to hopefully keep the squirrels at bay. This beautiful tree right here is a persimmon tree, and this is a Fuyu Persimmon. I bought this one last year and it's probably one of the most expensive trees I have bought so far. It was around $135. Persimmons do really well in our zone and are really adoptable. This one produces a fruit that is as big as an apple, and when it's ripe you can eat it crispy like an apple, or you can let it sit in your counter and it'll get really soft and gooey and super sweet. This is my Asian pear tree, and this is called hosui pear. This one is only producing fruit on these 3 branches this year. So it's kind of odd. The ones over here are not producing, but the ones here are. So let me show you a little bit closer. I think some of these were not pollinated because they are turning yellow and they're probably going to fall. Some of the fruits over here were definitely pollinated because I saw them the other day. Right over here we have a pear that has been pollinated. I hope at least one of these pears grows out to maturity and hopefully I can finally taste it after 2 years of growing this tree. My apple tree is doing quite well this year and it has a lot of blooms, and I'm hoping for some pollination, but we'll see if any of them set fruit. I'm very hopeful. Last year I had a couple on the tree as well, but the squirrels ate them all. Check out this little guy. We have a little ladybug over here. Maybe help him with some pests. I haven't seen any pests, but if it's here, it's because there are pests. So here are the apple blossoms. They are done blooming and hopefully we have some fruits that are set. The cherry tree did not produce any flowers this year, which is odd because it did make flowers last year, but not this year. But at least it is putting on a lot of growth this year. So hopefully this becomes a much bushier tree this year and I have a nice little tree that will produce in the future. Mulberries do really well in our area. This one is producing a ton of fruits this year, even though I gave it a big old haircut, but I need it to be nice and trim because my greenhouse needs all the sunshine it can get. This beautiful tree right here is special to me because I started it from seed. It's a pawpaw tree that I started from seed about 6 or 7 years ago. I used to have it planted in my community garden plot, and when I moved to this house, I dug it out and I transplanted it here. And I wasn't sure if it was gonna work or not, but it has definitely stuck and now it's growing. It's been 6 or 7 years since I planted this from seed and I haven't gotten any fruit yet, but I'm hopeful that within the next 4 years, I'll get some fruit. This monster little bush here is a elderberry bush, and these are prolific and they will produce a ton of elderberries for you. They grow really well in shady and sunny spots, so you can't go wrong with elderberries in Zone 7. Technically this is not a tree, but it's a vine and it produces food. And this is my concord grape. This is a delicious concord grape that has seeds, but it's quite tasty nonetheless. And this year is putting on a ton of growth, and you can see the baby grapes forming right here. I can see well over 50 clusters of grapes already. So this is gonna be a great year for this vine. This beautiful little vine right here is a hardy kiwi, and I'm so excited because it is putting out a lot of flowers. This one is a male, and I have a female one right over there. Last year only the female put out flowers, but the male did not, and I need both to put out flowers so that I can get cross-pollination, and they are both flowering this year, so I'm super excited. I might have some hardy kiwi this year. You can see the tiny little flowers forming right over here on this male plant. I had to transplant this because it wasn't getting enough sun over there in that trellis where I used to have it. But now it seems happy here, and it's gonna grow on this trellis and hopefully produce a couple of fruits for me this year. This tree right here is a pomegranate tree, and hopefully it will produce some pomegranates this year. I haven't seen any bloom just yet, but I'm hopeful that it will produce blooms. It is a mature tree, and hopefully I will have some pomegranates to show you in a few months. If you're looking to plant a pomegranate tree, make sure that you look for a Russian variety or a variety that is hardy to our zone. Some of the pomegranates that grow in California are big, juicy, and plumpy ones. Those don't grow here because they need a little bit of a much warmer winter. So except for the pawpaw, all the trees that I showed you today will produce fruit this year. Hopefully you can find yourself some cultivars, the ones that I have shown you today, and you can plant them into your yard and hopefully get a bountiful harvest from them. What other fruit trees have you had success with? Please let me know in the comments down below, and hopefully we can have a discussion about what trees do well in our zone. Thank you for watching today, and I'll see you in the next one.